I'm spread eagle, right? I'm literally spread eagle. And this little window opens, like if you're at a McDonald's drive-thru, the window opens up and the embryologist is there and he's like, hi, how you doing? Hi, it's Lulu.
And Lala.
And welcome back to my breast cancer journey. Quick little recap from last week's episode. Basically, we told you why we left radio, why we disappeared.
That's right. And
I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I've been recovering ever since.
That pretty much sums it up.
Right? Did I leave anything out?
Nope, I think you got it.
Serious question.
Yes.
Is my hair frizzy?
It's fine, Lulu.
All right. So moving forward, today we're going to be talking about a very hot and controversial topic, IVF.
That's right. Now you're probably wondering, what does IVF have to do with breast cancer?
A lot, actually. And I didn't know it because I just didn't know it. And so here's how the journey began. I got my notes. It's been a long year. It's been a blur. So I need my notes. All right. So like I said last week, I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer.
Right.
So they gave me
three options.
They gave me
2 or 3 options.
The first option was a lumpectomy, which is basically they go cut out the cancer from the boob. You have radiation and possibly chemo. The second one was having a mastectomy done, meaning they remove the whole boob and you possibly may need chemo.
Right.
The third option was you remove both boobs, a double mastectomy. You still might need chemo.
Yeah.
And so I made my decision. I thought about it. And I remember telling myself, I don't know about you, when our grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer, she decided to
just get a
lumpectomy. We all told her, you should just take your boobs out. She didn't listen. And then the cancer came back.
Years later,
the cancer came back. And so I told myself, if I ever found myself in that position, I'm just going to do a double mastectomy and avoid it. Why do I want to go through this process or possibly go through this again?
Right, because nothing...
Right. And so I decided I'm going to do a double mastectomy. I remember I did take a little time.
Which was frustrating because me, Mom, Dad, Lily, I didn't care what you did. I just wanted you to have the surgery. I wanted that cancer out ASAP. And I was not at ease until I knew it was out because I had this fear of like, oh my God, what if it starts spreading? She's taking too long. Decide, woman.
Mitch actually was like, thank God you went with your decision. We were all rooting for that decision, but
we were rooting for the decision. We were rooting for Englewood Health.
Yeah, but he told me, he's like, we knew that you had to make the decision.
It is. Ultimately, it's the person that has to decide, yeah.
And so when I told the surgeon and the doctors, okay, I'm going to go with a double mastectomy, that's when they told me, we highly recommend you do a cycle of IVF. And I'm like, why? And they basically were like, do you have kids? Do you want to have kids? And I'm like, no, I don't have kids. And yeah, you know, I hope to have a kid in the future.
Now you, because you were the one going through it, but I mean, I'm the same age. We're at an older age now. And for any woman that's in their upper 30s, 40s, it's a lot harder to get pregnant. Your egg quality decreases, and not just decreases in quantity, but the quality as well.
And so I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I should go through IVF. Now, I didn't have a lot of time. So I scheduled this. The time frame all has to do with a lot of it. I was getting married April 4th.
Yes.
If I was going to have a double mastectomy, I needed 6 weeks of full recovery, which brought me to February. So I had my surgery February 14th. If I wanted to do a cycle of IVF, I needed at least 2 weeks.
Right, because you were diagnosed on the 11th of January.
Right, so I didn't have much time at all.
You didn't have time to go to a second opinion, to check out different facilities that offer IVF and stuff like that. You pretty much just went...
I went with what they
recommended.
Right. I went with what they recommended. I knew what IVF was because since we're in the industry, in the business, we had covered and we had talked about it on the radio about IVF, and we also had a lot of friends that froze their eggs and went through the process. So we had an idea of, you know, the whole process and what it was. So I bring my husband, my fiance at the time, to the IVF clinic, I'm not going to mention the name because there's, yeah. And so I bring him in here and they start explaining everything, you know, what it's going to take, how long it's going to take, when I'm going to be retrieving. And I'm, you know, just listening in, and I start looking at Mitch, and I see him getting pale, stressing out. He literally could not form a sentence.
Yeah,
like he couldn't talk. Like,
and he's losing his voice. Like all of a sudden he's a little hoarse. He needed water.
He looked very nervous. And this is the first time that I see my man flustered like that. I mean, he's a Marine. He has Marine back, you know, like he's
military
a trained Marine.
Yeah.
He was a cop. He is very well cultured. And to see him this way, I honestly thought he was going to faint on the floor because of all that information that he was receiving. I don't think he realized how much goes into this. Right. Not only for the woman, but for the man as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of information that was given to both of you, because I was there as well. But I did feel a little uncomfortable because I felt like, all right, you clearly need time. The nurses kept looking at me like, because we all realized he was a little overwhelmed.
He had a very hard time. I think he wanted to have more time to sit down, digest the information, talk about it, and then come to, you know,
an agreement.
Yeah. And we just didn't have that. If I was going to do IVF treatment, I needed to start that night. Mm-hmm. That's how little timing I had. And so, you know, I felt bad because I know that he wanted to have more time, but I'm like, I don't have time. Either we do this or we don't do this. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know if I was going to need chemo. And if I was going to have chemo, the egg quality, gone.
Right.
The possibilities of having kids or having a family in the future were slim to none. And so I did what any woman in my position would have done. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go through this.
And also you did it because you wanted to at least say,
at least I tried.
Right.
Right. At least I tried. And so we decided to go through with it. And later that night, I get a phone call, and they're like, all right, well, this is how much it's going to cost. $15,000. And I'm like, all right, well, how much is the insurance covering? And they're like, oh, no, your insurance doesn't cover this.
Yeah, it is expensive.
And so I'm like, what? What do you mean the insurance doesn't cover this? Doesn't make sense.
It's a slap to the face.
Yeah, and they're like, unfortunately, your insurance doesn't cover this, so it's $15,000. But we'll cover the medication since you do have cancer. $15,000 is what kept ringing in my ear. And I just looked over at Mitch, and I'm like, you know, hi, Dookie. Come here. Come here. Come on. There you go. Okay, sit. So that money I had, Mitch and I had saved
for the
wedding.
That's right.
You know, that money was put for the wedding. And now I have to use it for IVF because my insurance doesn't cover it. And this was very frustrating to me because the following morning I called up the insurance line. I don't know if you remember.
I remember, yeah. It infuriated me.
Because I called them and I said, excuse me, I don't understand. Why isn't IVF covered? And their explanation to me was, well, because we don't cover that service.
It wasn't even a real explanation.
And so I'm like, so let me get this straight. You cover abortion. If I needed to get an abortion, no questions asked, you guys cover it. They said yes. And then I told them, and if I wanted to suddenly change my sex, you guys cover it, no questions asked. They said yes. And I'm like, but if I wanted to freeze my eggs so I can possibly have a family in the future because of cancer, you can't help me. You can't cover it. And they said, yeah, basically.
Yeah, they weren't really helpful at all. And you even wrote a letter.
I did. I wrote to the union. SAG-AFTRA union. I wrote to them. I pleaded them, like, please help me out. I don't have the funds for this, you know, like.
And the timing.
My timing, like, I have a small window to play. Help me out. And their response back to me was a slap in the face. They were so insensitive in their response. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, is this really happening to a person that pays her dues towards the union?
Well, first of all, they talk about they support women's right, their right to, you know, do whatever they want with their body.
Right, which, by the way, I'm not telling anybody, just to make it clear, I'm not telling anybody what to do with their body.
But if you...
But for this, the union, SAG-AFTRA, they're so about women empowerment. And here I am, a woman who's going through cancer, but you can't help me.
Right.
But you can help a woman that wants to get an abortion. She has those rights. And you can help a woman who wants to change her sex. She has that right. But I don't, what about my right? Right. What about those women that have infertility issues, fertility issues? Right. What about their rights?
Let alone a woman that's going through cancer.
Exactly. So I could not, nothing made sense to me.
Yeah.
It was a blow to my stomach, and it
was just very frustrating because you had, again, so many elements going on, decisions having to be made, and then you get slapped with $15,000 that you really weren't prepared to have to spend.
But again, I told myself, all right, this is just another little hurdle we have to jump over. Mm-hmm. Let's keep the faith, let's keep positive, and let's just do what we have to do. And so that's what I did. And so we went back into the facility. They explained everything. They showed me how to do the injections.
By the way, it's a real eye-opener to any man out there that thinks they know the woman's anatomy, like the inside. Y'all don't know.
And I feel that the reason that my husband was he felt so bad was because he didn't want my body to suffer any more than what it already was suffering. I have cancer and I have to start injecting things. That makes you very tired. You bloat up. You can get headaches.
Your moods change.
Yeah, like hormones all over the place. And he can't do anything to help me other than be by my side and try to put a smile on my face.
You know what I was thinking? I remember thinking what can I do? We're identical twins. Can I give you my eggs? Can I give you my uterus? All these things going through my head. I'm like, how can I help you as a twin sister? Like, what role can I play? But nothing. Just be there for you.
Yeah, it was just that I think back to that time and I'm like, I can't believe I went through that. I can't believe how insensitive people can be. And I can't, there was a lot of hypocrisy. So the day of the retrieval comes, and I could honestly say it was one of the worst experiences I've had, because I, honest to God, felt like I was a cow at a butcher shop. It was women on my left, women on my right, women in front of me, and I felt like it was just like one in, one out, one in, one out, one in, one out. I was like, what is this?
And the whole time,
I didn't feel comfortable.
The whole time, Mom and I and Mitch are waiting outside, and we're kind of like wondering, what's,
that's right, because
what's waiting? Like,
we got there at 4 in the morning, which I don't understand why. And they told me the egg retrieval was going to be at 6. It didn't happen until 10, and then they put me to sleep. And once I wake up, no water, no little graham cracker to munch on. Like, it was just like, all right, thanks for your services. Out.
Yeah, it was.
I was like,
I felt like that too. Where I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah. So it was kind of dumb. I was dumbfounded. Like, oh, is that it? All this? What was all this?
Yeah, like
the process was
almost
longer.
like used, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word, because I'm telling you from my perspective how I saw everything, and I'm like, I could only imagine what was going on. Plus, you're still like kind of out of it, waking up from the anesthesia.
Yeah, I just like, and unfortunately, the embryo that the embryos that we had were not viable. Mm-hmm. Which was another blow to me, because now I'm thinking, and I don't want to get all emotional here, but now I'm thinking, okay, I don't have the job that I wanted. I have breast cancer. I don't know if I'm ever going to have a family, right? My husband's mother just died, and now I don't even have an embryo, and I'm $15,000 short.
Yeah, it does. It took a lot. I could tell, and since I'm your twin and I feel what you're feeling, like, I felt helpless and I felt guilty, like, God,
so now I'm like, all right, again, I had my little moment, and I'm like, all right, bitch. This is me talking to myself. I'm like, all right, well, it is what it is. If God wants you to have kids, then you'll have kids. Let's move past this. Let's get ready for surgery. Okay, fine. Now, I had to go through 2 surgeries. I had my double mastectomy, and then I
Okay.
had my reconstructive surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I had my mastectomy, which I'm not going to talk about because I'm going to talk about my surgeries next week.
Right.
So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. Before I have my second surgery, they tell me, all right, we're going to do the second surgery. Do you plan on having kids? And I'm like, here we go again. Where is this going? And they're like, because after your surgery, you have to get on tamoxifen,
Which is a pill that they wanted you to take, well, they want you to take for 5 years.
That's right.
And this pill can potentially
Lower the quality of whatever eggs I may still have.
right.
And so they're like, we highly recommend for you to go through another IVF cycle.
Right.
And this time I'm like, how am I
Right.
going to do this?
Right, because again, it's
Expensive.
expensive. But then this is where I remembered about Generation Next. We had taken a tour of that facility back 2 years before. Absolutely fell in love with it, and I remember speaking to the girl Destiny, who's in charge of marketing and all that. And I reached out to her just to see. I'm like, maybe she could help you in some way, because again, me being your sister, your twin, I'm like trying so hard to like do my part to help out. And so I reached out to her and I told her the situation of what you were going through and how the other place, the facility that you had gone to, and how nothing was viable. She told me that they were willing to work with you to just go in and just speak to the doctors to see what they say. And so I told her about it and we did just that.
This time around, I had a little bit more time to sit down. Mitch was able to come ask a bunch of questions, because it takes a toll on the men too. He starts thinking, was it my eggs? My eggs. Was it my was it my swimmers?
Right.
But there was nothing wrong with his swimmers.
No.
They were strong.
Right.
My body was under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. It was a lot of elements, and
stress does play a part in your body. Now,
but let me
this
tell
place
you,
is so different.
when I walked into Generation Next facility, I was blown away.
Yeah.
I felt like I was at a 10-star spa
Yep.
in New York City.
bright, you have views of the city. On certain days, they have a person playing the piano there to
It
relax
smelled
you.
so good.
Yeah.
The people at the front desk, smiles, very welcoming.
Yep.
And I was like, well, hold up now. This is a whole different experience.
Yeah.
I was able to talk to Dr. Sechkin.
Yes.
Super informative, super
Love
sweet and
her.
nice. And once again, I got that feeling of family. Like
There's empathy.
they
there's
understood
compassion.
what I was going through, and they were going to do everything in their power to help me get those embryos and potentially have something for the future.
Right. I saw it as like it's a team, and
Yes.
they're all trying to win the game.
They're all rooting for me.
Yeah. That's what I loved about Generation Next.
Yes, I absolutely. It's just beautiful. And I know that my husband was also very happy there. The way that he was at the other facility was not at all how he was here. He was happy. He was, it was a different.
It's like when you buy a house where you have this feeling and okay, this is the house.
Kind of like when you're trying on a wedding dress. When you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Say yes to the dress. Say yes to Generation Next. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Perfect example.
It was just amazing. They experienced there. I'm like, okay, this is what IVF should be like.
Right. And by the way, we're not getting paid
No.
to promote Generation Next. We're speaking from the heart and we're speaking from experience. Her because she actually went through it, and me because I went through it with me as a family member.
Yeah. And so once again, they went over all of the things I had to go through, the pill I had to take, the injections. And every time I had a question, they were there to answer it on the phone or email. They were quick about it.
Yeah. And I want to say it is a little overwhelming with the needles, because when they first told you you're going to have to be injecting yourself and there's like 2-3 needles or whatnot.
Yes.
For anyone that doesn't like needles, such as myself, and I know you're not a fan, I don't think anybody likes to have to pinch themselves, but it's really not as bad as anyone thinks.
Not at all.
No.
It's not. That experience of injecting yourself, the medicine that you have to do is not bad. It really isn't.
And you think
get a little-
needles, and
you
you
get a-
think like they're like this huge
they're
thing.
not.
It's not.
They're very small. and you get bloated, kind of like when you have your period.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Not
No, not at all.
as intense as, you know, as that when you first hear it.
Yeah. Just looking over my notes here. And okay, day of retrieval. So great experience. The facilities are great. My husband's happy. I'm super happy. It's the day of the retrieval. I walk in, and they do it right there in the facility.
Yeah, it's in-house. And we forgot to mention, they gave us a tour of everything. They showed us where they
Store the eggs.
Where the embryo, where it's
Put
done,
the egg
where they
with
put
the
egg
sperm,
in the
where the
sperm.
embryo is made.
They showed us like different, where the man goes to do what he's got to do, where they draw your blood. Like they gave us a tour of the whole place, and it was
Reassuring.
I'm like, all right, this place is like, it's got it going on.
It does. And so I walk in, and they give me a pink little robe. I'm telling you, I felt like I was at a spa. You have the music going, you know, and then I walk into where the procedure is going to be done. Hold this, Lala. I got to show you this, because I was like, okay, the anesthesiologist comes in. She was amazing. I mean, she was so funny, and she made me feel so at ease. Her jokes were hilarious. She just made me feel so comfortable. So I'm in this room. Think of like if you're going to get a facial, that's what the room looked like.
Okay.
Like you're getting a facial, but for down there. You know what I mean? So she's there. The doctor who's going to perform the surgery
retrieval
is there. And then on the side, so just think of me. I'm spread eagle, right? I'm literally spread eagle. And this little window opens, like if you're at a McDonald's drive-thru. The window opens up, and the embryologist is there. And he's like, hi, how you doing? He verifies my name, verifies my information, okay? And I'm literally with my legs open, and I'm like, what? Super nice. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. This is amazing. Like, I couldn't believe it. And they were so nice. He closes the little window, and I have the best sleep of my life.
It was just like that.
It was like that. When I woke up, I had juice, I had water, I had a little crackers if I wanted. Again, I was at I guess it was like a spa. There was another woman next to me, but like far end. Right. And we were like chilling, listening to music, just the way that it should have been.
All right.
It was amazing. The doctor came to see me. How was I feeling? Did I have any questions? Right there and then they told me, guess what? We were able to get 5 eggs. We're going to see what happens. This is good news. I was so happy. I went home, and it was quick. I went in, and I went out. I didn't have to wait like 7 hours for this procedure to happen.
And he just farted, right? The dog.
No. Way to kill my moment here.
Sorry. But that's why he moved. Or maybe because I kicked him. I didn't mean to. But the way you walked out,
happy. I think I even danced out.
You did, and it was completely day and night from the first place to this place.
Yeah,
and that made me happy. I was just like, thank you, God.
And one of the things that I want to touch base now is why I love Generation Next.
Right,
because we are in October, and it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Right, and they actually have this great plan for the month of October called Eggtober, and basically what this is, it's an initiative.
It's a program.
It's a program to help women that have gone through cancer or currently going through cancer but are trying to freeze their eggs.
That's right. They're going to give 5 candidates. You have to qualify.
Yeah, you have to qualify. 5 candidates for free egg freezing and free storage for a year.
That's right. Now, obviously, you have to have your oncologist consent to this.
Right, you have to be 18 years of older or older, and again, you have to be either have gone through cancer or going through cancer at the moment.
Right, and if you know somebody that's going through this is a perfect opportunity to share this information because, like I said, egg freezing is expensive.
IVF is expensive.
IVF is expensive, and here you have this opportunity where you can get it for free.
Right. The egg freezing.
The egg freezing and the
egg
storage.
And the egg storage.
2 different things, and you're getting it for free. Yeah. And I think this is such a great program that Generation Next has. And I love the wordplay, Eggtober.
Yeah. So all the information is up on their website. We're going to link it on the YouTube page. You can click it and probably post it up on our social as well. So you could just go directly there. But please take advantage. It started October 1st.
That's right.
But
You still have time. You still have time to apply and see if you are the lucky winner.
Right. Five candidates. And I'm so happy they do this because not a lot of facilities offer this. They do it for the month of October, and it's great.
Yeah.
You could see how much they care and how important it is for women, especially those that want to have a family one day.
That's right. And I just think it is important to get knowledgeable about IVF, not just for the woman, but also for the man, because it does take a toll mentally, I think, for the men. It could weigh heavy on them because they might start thinking it's them, it's not, or maybe it is.
You learn so much.
You learn so much about you when you're going through this. And
yeah,
so
but also what to eat, what not to eat. Not only just for the woman, but also for the man as well.
That's right.
That plays a big part as well. Diet.
Your diet has a lot. It's like the saying says, what you are who you eat. That's not how it goes.
That's not a saying.
What you eat is what you are. No, that's not how it is.
I don't think there's
You are what you eat?
There we go.
Oh, you are what you eat.
Nice try.
I had an airheaded moment there. But the process of IVF at Generation Next was great. Was absolutely. I recommend if you're thinking of freezing your eggs to go there.
Right.
You know, whatever questions you have.
It's on 57th Street between Park and.
Come on, Lala. You know this.
Hold on. Don't tell me. There's Park and Madison.
I think it's Lexington.
Or Lexington.
Lexington
yeah.
and Park. Lexington and Park, Lala.
Okay. Either way, it's on 57th Street. I know that for sure.
So that was my journey with IVF. I think it's very important. And like I said earlier, I don't think any person should tell you what to do with your body. But I do feel like you should treat your body as if it's
a temple.
As a temple. Do whatever you I guess as a woman, again, this is my opinion. My opinion only. I went through this. This is my opinion. I feel like I should have had the option to have IVF and not have to shed out $15,000. You know, I'm a cancer patient. This isn't something that I wanted, you know. This is something that happened to me. And now you're putting an obstacle in another obstacle. You know what I'm saying? I just find all of it to be unfair. So you're telling me I can get an abortion, but I can't possibly have a family. How is this fair in the playing field? I can change my sex, everything's paid for, but I can't have, I can't possibly have I can't have a family in the future because I have cancer. Like I'm being punished because I have a disease that I didn't ask for. That made me feel really shit, and I don't think it's fair. I just don't. And to have gone through that, I don't think I should have been, I shouldn't have gone through that. I don't think any woman who's in the position that I was in should go through that.
Well, I think you have the right to speak your mind on the subject, especially since you've gone through everything that you have. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
That's it. That's it. That was my IVF journey. But again, all the information of Generation Next Facility is on the bottom. You can click on the link. If you guys have questions, you guys could always DM us.
That's right. You can DM us.
You can email us.
Email us.
Yeah. And next week, I'm going to be talking about my surgery, saying goodbye to the boobies. That was very hard.
Very hard. But there were some funny moments.
Yes, I made light of every situation because, again, you've taken all of this with a great sense of humor. Yes, I have.
And I have to applaud you for that because...
Thank you.
What's the word that I say? The thing is that you always took this as the amazing race. You took this journey, this thing, and I remember always saying, Lulu, remember, think back to when we were on the amazing race.
Yes.
We got to get to that pit stop. Think of, instead of Phil being on the mat, it's yourself.
Yeah. This wasn't the amazing race. This was the ultimate race.
Nicely said.
And I got through with it.
You won.
I did. I won. And what? and what? All right. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.